Hello there. It's September 7th, 2021. My name is Joe Weston, and we're here with our weekly online global practice for reviving the global heart. And it's, as I say every week, it's great to see those who show up, familiar faces and new faces. And it always warms my heart and helps relax my nervous system when people do show up and that people are committed to this, to see people who take time out of their busy schedules to put into their cultivating their own level of fierce compassion and resilience for their own well-being, for the well-being of those close to them, and perhaps even the well-being of all human beings and all creatures, and maybe even the planet itself. So that's what warms my heart and relaxes my nervous system, to just know that there are others out there who share a similar vision and are not just talking about it and not just dreaming and whining or complaining. Well, we all do that, or I should speak for myself. I do that, and trying to find ways to actually bring that from the whiny phase into action. And that's what we've been doing. I've been talking with you over the weeks of a series that I've been calling Compassion in Action, about this idea of that's the essence of fierce civility of that work, coming from the respectful confrontation work, which was the first body of work that I developed with the book Mastering Respectful Confrontation in workshops and trainings around the world. And now that evolving into this body of work called Fierce Compassion, which takes more the personal approach to how to stand in your power, speak your truth, get your needs met in a way where you don't get harmed and other people don't get harmed. How do you actually put time and energy into your own self-care and cultivating and deepening relationships, which means having the courage and the skills to have the difficult conversations. That's in essence what respectful confrontation is. But the fierce ability takes it to the level of how can I see myself in relationship with and in dialogue with cultural movements and cultural systems. And that even though I'm an individual and perhaps don't have the capacity today or tomorrow or next week, or the likelihood is I don't, to actually see lasting change happen that I can initiate myself, just taking that step of feeling the courage and the capacity and the internal strength and conviction to be in that dialogue, actually, I believe, is already creating great benefit for this planet. That we overcome our fear and our suspicion and our hopelessness and our helplessness, our apathy, our cynicism, and a sense of what the system really wants us to believe, that I as an individual don't have power in this. That we can overcome that and say, well, some of that may be true and that times are challenging, yet I still want to see what I can do to cultivate a more capacity in my heart for fierce compassion, to cultivate more of a sense of resilience so that I don't burn out, that I can, for sustainability and longevity, that I have the capacity to meet the challenges with finesse, with grace, from my core value system, to not get caught in the back and the forth of the polarization and contribute to the noise, but find a way to elevate myself and others from the noise to hear a different story. And I've spoken about this a lot. It's like, whose life are you living, right? Whose story are you choosing to believe? Who's telling the story? And I think if we just take a moment to ask those questions, because many of us, I believe, have come to believe the story that we're being offered, which is a lot of it coming from the media and from those who have the loudest voices, which are those on the extreme, who are taking up a lot of space. And we forget that being loud doesn't mean you're right. That being loud doesn't mean you're powerful. It simply means you're loud. And that what's unfortunate, you could say from one perspective, it's not unfortunate, but what's unfortunate is that for those of us who are telling a different story, it's a softer story. It's a quieter story. It's a more powerful story. It's a story that will lead to the evolution of the human species, I believe, and to a true shift on this planet that is happening. So it's not that we're creating this shift, we're stewarding a shift that's already happening. We become midwives for a system that's dying and a system that's being birthed. Again, what's unfortunate in the temporary is that it's a soft story. It's a quiet story, and therefore hard to hear amongst the noise. So how do we cultivate within ourselves a deeper level of presence and resilience and sharpness, so that even though the story is quiet, it pierces through and transcends what's so easy for us to get caught in? That is the essence of fierce ability, of training ourselves to be able to hold that vision, and even in the tough times, to still cultivate this sense of hope. So who's in control of the story? And in a sense, how do we take back our story of hope? If that's your story. And the more of us that gather and meet on a regular basis and reinforce that story, it's like neuroplasticity in the brain, right? That if you do it once, or if it's like, every time you do something new, the brain makes a connection, a neural pathway. And the more you do that, and the more neural pathways that are created to reinforce that pattern, and the more often you do that pattern, the larger that neural pathway gets, the stronger it gets, the more ingrained it gets. So it becomes a new habit. That is the key to gathering, I think, at this point, particularly in this world of, in a COVID world, where we don't get to gather often anymore in rooms where we can. So it's, how do we use the World Wide Web to reinforce these neural pathways of hope and fierce compassion? So every time you show up, you're helping to reinforce that. So thank you. And the more people we can bring in to reinforce that, the more we establish, and that new story of hope gets established. I heard someone say that for the shift to happen in what is emerging, even though it could cause a lot of chaos and pain and destruction, the shift that is happening doesn't need 100% buy-in from 100% of the human population. I think everyone has a different number, but some people are now saying if 1/3 of the human population, some people are saying numbers like 30 million or 3, I'm not sure. But and that in the United States, I think it's 1.5 million people, I think, or 10 million, I forget the number. Anyway, you can play with the numbers, but it's that it only needs to be a fraction. And that what is unfortunate is that there are probably many people on this planet who share the similar story of hope, but haven't found a way to connect in with others who have as well. And that is, maybe that's all that's needed, is that we are like a Christmas lights. We're just all these individual lovely little Christmas lighty bulby thingies. And we're just waiting for a connection so we can light up this beautiful tree. So every time we gather, we reinforce that. So thank you for being here. And I want to just talk a little bit more about this idea of compassion in action. We talked about what I've offered many perspectives on how to take the idea of compassion. That's already radical for a large portion of the human population, to have sympathy, first of all, for others than themselves, to then have empathy for others than themselves, to then take it into a place of compassion, like maybe mustering up this idea of maybe there's something I can do to alleviate the suffering of others. I can get over myself, which is what I say, a very New York kind of way of all this work is basically, the essence of it is get over yourself. And the more you can get over yourself, the more you can get into a world where you are engaging with others more effectively. To take it into action. So thinking compassionate thoughts is a great start. Saying compassionate things is a great thing. Doing compassionate things every once in a while, or doing them is even better. Becoming compassion, where it's no more a question of do I do something, you simply are it. And you simply are creating healing around you, reconciliation around you. People are getting happier around you, and people are overcoming their suffering around you. That takes practice. Literal practice, and the practice I offer and that we do here on a regular basis helps you to come into this habitual place of compassion in action. And we talked about different aspects of that, and I want to share with you a practice that I do, that I've cultivated, that can get you into that space We talked about this idea of, remember, the amorphous kind of malleable state of the labels we have of loved one, stranger, and adversary, right? We did a lot of talking about that. That from our side is where we get rigid in that. The more we can let that go and see the person for who they truly are, the more we can connect from our hearts, connect from our personal power. And the more we get over our attachments or our aversion or our indifference to others, which causes a lot of our own inner turmoil, to get to a state of equanimity. And I talked about many different ways about meditating and contemplating that. And you can look back at past sessions to follow that. But today, to finish this off, this whole idea of compassion in action, I want to offer a practice and we'll do it in our practice, and then we'll have time afterwards to reflect. So let's start our practice. And basically what this is this idea of incorporating this into our practice, a new part of it that's creating a new habit. So as always, we want to start this where, in a sense, when we are embodying this idea of fierce civility, then you could say what we're doing is we're moving through the world in a constant state of presence, awareness, balance, and flow. It is in that state that we are always at our best. And if we're not at our best, then we find a way to calibrate and balance and flow to get back to our best. When we in a sense, measure how we are in relationship with our surroundings and the earth itself and with others. If there's tension or rigidity in that, we use our presence, awareness, balance, and flow to calibrate that to get back to right relationship. That's the essence of the work. That is resilience. And the most effective way to break the rigidity of polarization or arguments or opposition by always finding the pivot and always finding a way to flow. And you can, and the way, it's just very simple. If you're feeling rigidity in yourself, in a conversation or in another, somewhere there's something that needs to be addressed, to find a way to soften it and bring it back into the sense of balance and flow. That's on some level, you could say that's what the whole practice is. Implementing that is a lifelong practice and study. That is the essence of it. So in this practice, we're going to add another piece to that. So I bring that up because an ideal way of sitting is what we say is what I call power sit, where you're sitting in a way where you want to eliminate as much rigidity in your body as possible, so that the most energy can flow through the body, whether that's the nervous system flowing, the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the endocrine system, all the biological things, that they can flow more effectively without obstacles or tightness or tension, or a more energetic approach, the meridians, the chakras, the centers, the hara, the core, that the energy can flow, the chi can flow in a more effective way as well. So sitting in a way where your spine is straight without being rigid, elongating from the back of your neck, so you're tucking in your chin a little bit. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your belly. Feel safe for you closing your eyes so you can cultivate in this practice a deeper level of listening that goes beyond the eyes and the ears. And that is key to this practice. What I want to offer with you, it really has to do with how much you trust your own inner wisdom and your own inner ear to hear what might not be tangible on the surface. So from this state of power sit, of presence awareness, proper balance and flow in the body, bring your attention to your core or your center, which is in your lower belly, your dantian, the width of 3 fingers below your navel or a third of the way into the body, from the front of the body. Center of gravity, impulse, creativity. personal power and awareness. From your center, become aware of your contact points. Become aware of the points of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on. Ground, floor, chair, cushion. Those points, feeling in the sensations in your body of those, of your body pressing down through gravity towards the ground, feeling the stability under you, allowing the nervous system to be held, to communicate the message through your body, to let yourself be held. From your center, become aware of your physical body. Again, simply listening. Listening, cultivating a deeper level of listening. Gathering information. But letting the body's wisdom speak to you. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. Listening to what the emotional body is communicating to you in this moment. Without judgment, without needing to fix or create stories, simply listen. From your center, awareness. From your center, become aware of your thoughts, the mental body. Truly and deeply connecting with the part of you that is listening to your thoughts. Without judgment, without needing to follow them. Maintaining a connection with your core, your foundation of this practice, personal power. Now bringing awareness to your heart, to the middle of your chest, where your heart power resides. Compassion, understanding, curiosity, courage. From your center and from your heart, become aware of that part of you that has connection to something larger than yourself, your spiritual body. Again, from your core and now with your heart, listening to that part of you. As that part of you opens to its access to something larger than yourself in this moment. And what information is coming to you? Expanding your awareness of self, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, now to include the space around you, your own personal space. So from your center and from your heart, extend your awareness out to your own personal boundaries. Behind you, above you, around you, above and below. Clarifying your own sense of boundaries and all the space in between as yours, something you can claim as your own and that you have a right to have. A place of safety. Now with this awareness of yourself in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. With this awareness of yourself in this present moment, expanding your sense of awareness outside of yourself now to include your surroundings. So from your center and from your heart, become aware of your surroundings in all directions. Feeling that moment when of your personal boundaries where all that you becomes everything else. It's your relationship in this moment with your surroundings. What information does it have for you? From your center and from your heart, with awareness of yourself and your surroundings, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Building on this connection and awareness that you have at this present moment, first with yourself and your surroundings, now from your center and from your heart, become aware of those in this meditation circle, those here joining you in this practice, various parts of North America, of Europe, other parts of the world. From your center and from your heart, with honor and respect, connecting with them. And seeing in your mind's eye, maybe we're sitting in circle together, however it works for you, whatever images you have of us sitting together or standing together in connection. Your personal power and heart connecting with their personal power and heart, with honor and respect. And as you connect with them and feel a heart connection with them, simply ask yourself this question, or ask this question to them in your heart. What do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? Keep asking that question to them and listen to see if an answer comes. It may not, it may, doesn't matter. We're practicing a new habit. What do you need in this moment? So you're actively being assertive by asking the question, your heart energy reaching out towards there. At the same time, you're actively being receptive by being willing to and curious to open to the answer, an answer, if an answer comes. Notice the effect it has on you as you ask this question and keep asking it, letting energy flow and emotions flow. And with this awareness now of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, deep into your heart, out through your mouth. With this awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle, now bring awareness from your center and from your heart to all human beings, beginning with those human beings you would label loved ones. Who do you see? What faces arise in your heart? What groups of people? Standing face to face or sitting face to face with them. Your core and your heart with honor and respect connecting with theirs. When you feel you have a connection, again, ask from your heart, ask them the question, what do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? Notice the effects it might have on you emotionally or physically, mentally, spiritually. Your level of safety, your level of open-heartedness in this moment. As you open to this question, what do you need in this moment? Tracking any answers you might get. You might want to, when this is, if you get some answers with some loved ones, and you might want to jot them down when we're done. And from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those human beings you would label stranger. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? How many billions of people can you see in this moment? Could be a neighbor, could be someone on the other side of the planet. Could be someone in Texas, could be someone in Louisiana. Afghanistan. And from your center and from your heart, as you connect with their center and their heart with honor and respect, asking the question, what do you need in this moment? Actively ask the question from your heart. Actively receive the answer into your heart. What do you need in this moment? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. Gathering any information you receive. And from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those human beings you would label adversary. Standing face to face or sitting face to face with them, what faces arise? What images or groups of people do you see? Does that shift your level of safety and your sense of personal space? Does that change the level of open-heartedness? Calibrate, adjust. And from your center and from your heart, with honor and respect, connecting with their center and their heart. As you connect with them, asking them the question, what do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? Actively listening, seeing what responses come. Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. Allow yourself to be surprised by your experience, your reaction, what you hear. Now taking this all in, loved one, stranger, and adversary, the sense of the experience of having taken the time to listen. And that they, each one of them, each 7.5 billion of them, resting in the sense of, wow, someone has listened to me. Someone took the time to listen to me. Notice the effect on them. With this awareness of self, surroundings, those in this meditation circle, and all human beings, regardless of how you label them, as loved one, stranger, or adversary, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Taking this experience with you and bringing all human beings into your heart. As you now bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle, taking a moment with those in this meditation circle to share. Imagine if we were in circle and now we took some time to actually process and share with one another the needs of those in the human family. Imagine. With gratitude, taking those in this meditation circle into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings. And imagine this idea of anchoring this new practice, this new piece of the practice into your daily life. First starting with your context, your surroundings. Now take your surroundings into your heart as you bring your awareness back to yourself. And now is the big $1 million question, or the €1 million question. The big act of courage. As you sit and connect with yourself from your center and from your heart, ask the question, what do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? What do you need in this moment? In other words, what do I need in this moment? What do I need in this moment? Allow that to feel the effects of that, allowing energy and emotions to flow. Taking that experience into your heart, noticing the effects of this practice up to this point. taking the energetics or the energy of what you've generated into your cells, letting it nurture all of your cells, bringing your cells to life and vitality, letting this feed your organs and nurture your organs. Taking this practice and the effects of this practice into your nervous system so that you create the sense of muscle memory or neuroplasticity of remembering, creating a new habit. With this commitment of, imagine if the only chatter in my head ever is, what do you need in this moment? Ever. In any moment, what do you need in this moment? Taking all this energy into your core as your battery to fill your battery, charging yourself with the benefits of this practice. Slowly open your eyes with that question in mind. Look around the room, stretch your body, shake your body. Beautiful. So we started with a motivation, we did our practice, and now we have time to reflect. Anybody want to share any reflections on what I spoke about or what came up for you in this practice? Wow.
It was intense, to say the least.
It was intense?
Intense.
Okay, was it intense?
The emotions, they flow. Maybe my stage, but it was intense to pause and ask the question to all of the individuals you mentioned, the loved ones, the strangers, the adversaries, and to yourself. And for me, it brought a lot of emotion. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I had a little bit of problem getting on screen and becoming me and not you. Sorry, Joe.
Don't want to do it. It's dangerous territory to become me. Don't even try it.
Amen, my friend. Amen. I'm stepping right out of that and into the Shelley. Whoo! You took me so broadly into all the loved ones, Joe. I all of a sudden became compassionate you. I was struck by you speaking about the softer story piercing through the cacophony of loudness. And it really landed in me in a way of, we seem to be in a world that is screaming louder and louder and louder about what is right and what is true and what is the good thing, and it's insanity. And there's this, so it feels like we have to get louder and bigger, and it really struck me that there's in the respectful confrontation model of the 4 pillars, focus being such an important piece of piercing through the craziness. And I then experienced what my imagination took me to was that in the more quiet story, there's a thrum of power that is created where people are then allured to the strength of goodness and faith and compassion and connection. And that in that allurement, there is what you spoke about, which is how paradigms are formed, how a third of the world can then dive in, or it doesn't take everyone. It takes, like, there's this one more person gets in line with peaceful connection, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in a transformed humanity, which seems like magic and seems like it might be far-fetched, but I really believe that that is what we're doing. So one more thing, and then I will pipe down. So then when we were speaking, when you took us through I love the what do you need? What do you need at this moment? I mean, what a beautiful, assertive, receptive engagement. And in that, like, I just felt what I need, and what I heard from my adversaries needing is faith. And what I heard from strangers needing in Afghanistan, when we continue to tell the story that it is a tribal place, it's like, it's not. That might be what it's been for however long you want to talk about it. But at this very moment in time, there are women and girls in the streets that are finding their voice, and then men are following their lead. So I just, like, let's stop telling the story that keeps people encapsulated in what has been, including ourselves. So.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This is, for me, this is what we're adding to the practice, is that we cultivate this habit, that it doesn't become an effort to ask the question, what do you need in this moment? That it becomes just as normal as breathing. Not only does it help you with because so much chatter is the chatter that, you know what the chatter does. If you can train yourself to focus on that one thought, it's like a mantra, right? It's just then you're focusing your mind. And in that process, you're cultivating, simply by asking that question, you're cultivating a deeper level of receptivity. And you're also cultivating your intuitive skills. And the whole purpose of it in this context is you are cultivating the embodiment of compassionate action, because that's all compassionate action is simply the constant question, what do you need in this moment? And for my senior teachers who always, in this process of, Joe, how do you do what you do? Because this is the practice that I've cultivated, that I can walk into a room and I'm constantly asking this. And that's why people will suddenly, the things that happen in groups, whether that's at NASA or in a deep spiritual retreat, it happens because I have opened myself up to this field of asking this question. And that's all you really need. You know me, it's not all you really need, but that's all you really need. That's it. That's the one thing. Tammy says, or is reiterating, let's stop telling the story that keeps people encapsulated in what has been, including ourselves. How beautiful. Yeah. I think it's a big question. Who is in them? I just wrote a chapter of that in my book. Is the question is whose story are you believing? Who has control of the story?
The answer I kept getting for all the groups was to be seen. And I kept thinking that the importance of seeing the divinity in all the people that we see, and that ultimately that's what we all want, is to be really seen.
Yeah. Beautiful. And that's what that's where the power of fierce ability, and where new solutions can emerge, and where healing and reconciliation, because it's not that I want this policy to be passed, or I want this policy to be passed. I want this to be this. I want that to be that. But in the depths of it, the only way we're going to get through this mess is if we tap into a deeper level of need, because the needs are universal. The need to be seen, we all understand. And that if I just help someone who has a different political view than me help themselves to be seen, then that doesn't threaten any policy. And I've just created an alliance.
Right.
I need to be seen. I need to feel safe. I mean, for many people, that's a fundamental. Who doesn't? right? And if we can get those needs met, then maybe we can see that the volatility around issues and policy diminish. Or at least we get to a point where we can discuss them civilly. Hey, Randy, who's hanging behind you? It's quite a,
That's a painting that I painted a while back. It's called Holy Man.
it's a holy man. That's quite beautiful. Thank
You look alike. You know, I was thinking about that you look alike. Yeah.
Thank you, Randy, for bringing the holy man into our circle.
Well,
And
It was a big, Joe, while you were gone, it was a big topic of conversation that Barbara Robinson brought out. And as soon as your image came up, I thought, there's the holy man.
So I want to thank you all, and I have a plea and a request, is that in this quest for us to, those of us who share this vision of a story, is for the next few weeks, please put some time and attention in seeing if you can bring more people to this event. If there are ways of engaging more in the Fear Civility Project and what we're working on there. That's the whole purpose of this. And right now is a moment when we can use support in all ways possible. So fearcivility.org is the website. So feel free to get in touch if you have some time and energy, or just this idea of how can you strategize to bring more people to this or to expand this. I'm also going to put in the chat that Thursday, September 16th, we're doing our Fear Civility monthly meetup. That's another way to be engaged. If you can make it, it's for the people in Europe, it's tough because it's at 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 90 minutes online of monthly meetups every third Thursday of the month. And we had our first one last week, and it was a really powerful, powerful group of people to create more space. My challenge is to create more space for people to share and to really get to know one another and strategize on how we bring fear civility into the world. So if you can make it to that, and if you could tell people about it, it's a contribution-based event. There's no, but you do need to register, so we can send you the link. Make a point of joining that as well. And as always, if you want to make a donation for this session, you can always do that at fearcivility.org donation page. All right, so let's Randy, great to see you.
thank you. Good to be with you.
Thank you, Holy Man, for showing up. Let's dedicate this, with the benefits of this energy of this practice, that all beings on this planet feel seen, feel heard, feel safe, that their healing can happen, and the trauma in their nervous systems to come to a place of safety, so that once again human beings can open their hearts to a deeper level of possibility for our human species and for the evolution and for the health of this planet. May all beings on this planet have enough fresh water to drink and food to eat. And may all leaders and government govern from a place of wisdom and compassion, as opposed to fear and greed. So thank you. Have a great week. Much love to you, and see you next week. And let's stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Joe.
much.